With Life is Strange Double Exposure coming out soon, and after recently playing through all of the Life is Strange games, I would like to talk about what I want, don't want, and expect from the game. This video will contain major spoilers for the past games, primarily the original Life is Strange. Now, let's get started with gameplay. I expect most of the gameplay to be very similar to all the other games. You walk around, look at, and interact with things and people, and then make choices through dialogue or action. I highly doubt they would change this in a major way, as this is how it has been for all the other games. What I'm really interested in terms of gameplay is how they're going to handle Max's power. As far as I'm aware, Max's power is going to be solely limited to hearing, seeing, and shifting between realities. I do not believe she has her original reverse time ability. My biggest questions in terms of gameplay is how often her power will actually be used. Max has learned what can happen when she uses her power, and this leads me to believe that she would not use it in fear of another incident, which the trailer seems to confirm by Max saying, "I'd swore I'd never use my powers again." Now, I wonder if this means the game may limit how much Max uses her powers, as she most likely wants to use it as little as possible. I think this makes the most sense from a lore and character standpoint, but in terms of gameplay, it might not be great if the main ability in the game is heavily restricted. Of course, we will just have to wait and see exactly how they plan on using it. Me personally, I wouldn't mind if the power is restricted, making the times you can or have to use it more impactful, as well as being more in line with how I think Max would use it. The story is definitely what I look forward to the most, but am also the most worried about. So, starting with how the game will begin, I want it to function similarly to True Colors. I want the whole first chapter to be dedicated to our new Max, her friend, who is the victim of our story, Safi, the other pivotal characters, and the setting. I think at the very end of the first chapter, Safi will die. This gives us time to come to know her and like her, so we're more impacted by the initial loss of her and are driven to find the killer. In terms of Max's power, I would prefer she not use it till the very end of chapter 1 or somewhere in the beginning of 2. I would like her first use of the power to be an accident akin to the first game where it was just a reaction. This makes it so she is not intentionally using her power and has done so out of impulse, accident, instinct, or emotion. The trailer makes it look like her power is acting up without her direct usage, and eventually she gives in after hearing her dead friend. If this is the approach they're taking, I don't mind and am interested in seeing how they do it. The second chapter should primarily be dedicated to discovering the new reality and giving us the initial clues to the mystery. There are probably going to be 5 parts of the game as per usual, and I assume chapters 3 and 4 are going to be switching back and forth between realities, slowly piecing together the mystery. The final chapter will obviously be the ending, but it is the thing I am the most worried about. I do not want the final choice to ultimately be between choosing to give up everything you have done or committing to what you have spent the entire game doing. This is what Life is Strange 1, 2, and to a certain extent Before the Storm fundamentally end up being, and I don't want to be worrying throughout the entire game if my choices truly matter. I don't think they will do this, as it would end up being too close to what Life is Strange 1 already is. I'm honestly not sure what exactly the ending choice will be, but if I had to guess, it would be between choosing which reality to stay in or something like that. Of course, there are a ton of possibilities, and I'm excited to see what it is. Another thing I don't want is the twist bad guy to be a father type figure, parent type figure, or someone that is looked up to, as that is what 3 out of the 4 games have had. Once again, there is a lot of possibility with 2 realities. Maybe there are different killers or different reasoning, or maybe it's the alternate universe Max, or maybe Sophie really deserved it. I don't know. But once again, I'm excited to see what they choose to do. Overall, I expect this story to be great. I think they'll handle everything well, and hopefully, I'll end up being surprised. Before we move on to characters, I want to talk about how they will handle its connection to the first game. With this game currently being the only direct sequel, I'm intrigued as to how they will deal with the two different endings of its predecessor. I highly doubt they would make one ending canon, as that goes against so much of what this series is, as well as the other games have had prompts asking you what you chose your ending to be. I assume that's how they'll take it, and depending on what you choose, it will impact the references you make to the first game and possibly cameos. I don't know if Chloe would be in the game if you chose to save her, but if she is, it would probably be no more than a phone call, as completely adding or removing a character as major as her would probably be a lot to work around. How they handle Max is going to be a vital thing. While this is not the first time we have seen characters between games, this is the first time we get to play as the same character twice. This game will most likely take place around 2022, meaning that it will have been almost a decade since the events of the first Life is Strange. A person can change a lot over 10 years, especially when they are young. There definitely needs to be some changes between our new and old Max, but at the same time, she can't be so different that she doesn't feel like the same character. Honestly, I do think they'll do a good job of keeping her feeling like the Max we know while still adding and changing some things about her. The biggest thing I want from Max is to see how she has been affected by the first game. She went through a lot in a couple of days. She watched her best friend get shot several times, watched another friend attempt to kill herself. She's also drugged, kidnapped, and tied up by someone she looked up to, and then finally had to choose between Chloe and Arcadia Bay. That's a lot to go through. That would definitely mess someone up. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of trippy dream sequence type thing that has some of these moments from the first game. I truly believe that Max will have been handled super carefully and will be everything she needs to be. We don't get much of Sophie in the trailer, and I'm glad, as it allows us to learn about her as we play. I already mentioned this in the story segment, but I hope she is someone who we can relate to, enjoy, and get to know fully, so we are dedicated to solving her murder. I hope she remains a likable character and plays a big part in the story. I hope all the other characters will have depth, their own personality, and feel like real people. Overall, I think they'll do a great job with characters like they have with all the other games. Now I'm on to all the extra stuff that I want to talk about, but isn't as major. Starting with the graphics, they look really good for being cartoony, but unfortunately, it looks like they have almost or have completely lost the painted look that the other games have had. This kind of sucks, as this is one of the things that gave the original and the series as a whole so much personality, even if 2 and True Colors had a bit less of it. I don't think it's an awful change, and I don't mind the game trying to look good, but I will definitely miss the style. And then music, I expect them to cook with the music as they have with all the other games, and I have a strong feeling that they're going to try to hit extra hard with this one. Overall, I expect this game to do a great job of giving Max a new story. I think its gameplay will be good and its characters great. I doubt they'll be able to do better than the original because I have no idea how you can top that. But if it does, I'll be happy. And if not, I hope it's at least second best. I find this to be an interesting concept, and I can't wait to see how it will play out and how it adds to the Life is Strange universe. Thank you for watching my video. I just want to say real quick that I know there are other like trailers and videos for the characters and gameplay and whatnot, but I'm trying to say as like spoiler free and going into the game as blind as I can, as I love doing that. I love experiencing stuff for the first time. That's also why comments are going to be disabled so I don't get spoilers. And if anyone who watches this like doesn't like go to the comments and see a spoiler. As much as I would love to hear the 0 people who will watch this say what they think the game will be like and stuff or predictions. It's just a risk I'm not willing to take. But once again, I hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching.